I want you to consider, this might be shocking. There are no problems in circumstances. There's just circumstances. I'm not saying they're ideal. I'm not saying they're great. You know, you might have a parent right now who's struggling, who's got cancer, and, you know, they've only got a few weeks to live, but that's still a circumstance. It's not a problem. The problem is there's the you, the circumstance, and then there's the resistance between the two. You only have a problem because you don't want the way your life is. So, if you want to be free of your problems, everything that we've just talked about is to be big enough as a human being that you can be okay with the way things are. That doesn't mean surrender, or it's acceptance while still being a stand for something. You know, I've often said we're all masterpieces and works in progress. The way that my life is right now, I'm pretty blessed. Things are pretty extraordinary, but I'm also moving and there's a lot of shit to handle. But it's not a problem. It's just stuff to do. And I could resist it and then I'd be like, oh, okay, well, this sucks. Or I could get on with it. Not a problem. So I want you to consider none of you have problems. You just have a you that resists the way your life is. Does that help? Thank you very much. And beautifully said. That is revelatory. It's the dissolution. And so to continue what Aubrey was saying, the love-making of life that he experiences, and he probably has way more experiences from plant medicine too. I've never done that. But I would assert that why those experiences we have as humans are so profound, it's because you're not there anymore. The you that is the foundation of the resistance to life dies. I mean, it's called ego death, right? Like, I mean, in the absence of you, guess what? You don't have any problems. My shortest quote, no you, no problem. Every problem belongs to you. If you notice, wherever you are, your problems are there. So lovemaking, surfing, you know, plant medicine, whatever it is, often these experiences that we're drawn to, they're so profound and they can be transformative. You know, this is why people talk about integration, because it's like nature abhors a vacuum, and a vacuum is the absence of you. So when you come back out of an experience that is so, it's a metamorphosis where you're like, holy shit, like, and this is kind of falling in love, right? We have the same thing. It's like, you notice when you fall in love, like you didn't suddenly have a bigger bank account. You didn't suddenly have a six-packs, abs, and like, you know, like the dream job. It's like, no, but everything's fucking great. I'm like, well, I saw you last week. You were like fucking depressed. Yeah, I know, but I met someone, right? So then you're in this state of love. The circumstances didn't change, but your resistance to life disappeared. And in the resistance to life, you're in heaven. Fucking life open.
Oh, let's go.
Thank you so much both for this incredible conversation. How is your conversation with darkness?
How's the conversation with?
With darkness. With darkness, with something
darkness?
dark. Yeah, that we were talking about, part of the whole picture. How do you approach darkness when it's presented to you?
Hello, darkness, my old friend. Well, describe darkness. Do you mean literal darkness? Darkness as an experience?
I mean, darkness can be depending. I am curious, what is darkness for you?
Well, again, if you understand the yin and the yang and the conversations, like, how would you project your question onto what I was saying to Babak about his trying to reinforce the desirable and avoid the undesirable? Undesirable would probably fall under the bracket of darkness, right?
Yeah.
So what did you get from what I shared with him?
I feel like, from what I understood, he was separating himself from where he is to the possibility of what it is, when in reality we are all of that. It's just acceptance, right?
Yeah, so he's trying to avoid darkness.
Yeah.
And when you try to avoid darkness, what is the energy that I just talked about?
It's just the opposite, like you are even attracting more of that, or resistance to
Resistance,
it. Yeah.
So what's your name?
Maite.
Maita?
Maite.
Where are you from?
Spain.
Okay, beautiful. So consider this as a plot twist. The real darkness isn't the darkness. The real darkness is the resistance to the darkness. Oof, I've never said that before. Now I've got another thing I can quote myself on. Right? See, darkness is darkness, no problem. Have you noticed that tends to happen every day, 24-hour cycle? Right? Resisting darkness is like us going outside right now and collectively saying, yeah, but the sun is in the wrong position.
But how about if you don't resist to it, you just accept it? And once that you are accepting it and welcoming it, what is your conversation with it?
Well, there's no conversation if there's acceptance. There's just being with something.
How are you being with something, with like that?
Okay. What date is it today? 24th, 23rd of February? 25th. Okay. What did you have for breakfast on January 6th?
Don't remember?
Oh, okay. What's your resistance with that?
I don't think it's resistance. It's just like a memory issue.
It's a what?
A memory issue. I don't remember.
Right. And I would assert it's because you're complete with it. You're not holding on to it. Anything that we resist, we're not okay with. That is the energy of darkness. If you're okay with everything, the conversation becomes, that's when I said there's nothing to do and nothing to say. We're only aware of the things that we haven't yet accepted, which is, again, where I said life will present you with people and circumstances to reveal where you're not free. So wherever there's a resistance to something is the opportunity to find more freedom. So any conversation you have about anything we could assert is actually the resistance to something. Otherwise, you're just at peace with everything.
And when you were talking about evil, like because there is evil, and maybe it's not that resistant, it's just happening, or when you both were talking about evil,
Yeah.
how is that approach in your life?
For me personally,
Yeah.
I just keep being as much fucking love as I can be. I be as much freedom as I can be. And for my own peace of mind, I found the most amount of acceptance for what is and got rid of the audacity that I think that I know how life should be. If it weren't for the quote-unquote evil, and again, it's just through words, right? There's no such thing as a wave on an ocean. The ocean's not like, oh, that's a cool wave. No, that's a small wave. Like, it's just all ocean. And then there's a tornado, or then there's still water. So the same, evil is only existing because of the word evil. Then there's just whatever's happening. And the degree to which we become big enough to make space for all of it is, to me, an expression of freedom and love. And in the essence of freedom and love, anything that we might declare as evil dissipates. Like, I guarantee you, Babek just went outside. He's there. Hello. He's so fucking free. It's like, whatever. This guy, I got whatever I needed. He's like, I'm out. So in the absence of him trying to avoid the undesirable, it just dissipates, because the resistance to the undesirable was actually the resistance to his own conversation about what's undesirable. So darkness, again, as I said, isn't the problem. The resistance to darkness as a categorization of things in life, cancer is darkness, being in debt is darkness, evil is darkness, abuse is dark. Like, whatever you're using as the expression of darkness is just an aspect of life for where we're at right now as a consciousness, which, if we're being honest, isn't that evolved. I mean, you can still drive around town and go and get McDonald's and, In-N-Out, and no judgment, but I don't think that's an expression of the vitality that is the potential of the human spirit, right? We still spray billions of gallons of glyphosate over the food we eat, and that, as last I checked, isn't necessarily an expression of the radiance of what could be our bodies, right? So if an intelligent species arrived on this planet and looked at us, they'd be like, oh, wow, this group's got a long way to go, right? And yet we have the audacity to think that we know how things should be and that we know how the weather should be. And so we're going to manipulate Mother Nature. So darkness is part of where we're at right now as a collective consciousness that really isn't that evolved. Your opportunity as an aspect of darkness is how much darkness can I reconcile and mitigate within myself. Because you're one of 8 billion. But if you're in a state of resistance, people who worry about human suffering and they're up in arms, like anti-war, the fight against cancer. You seeing the theme? Right? Like when I watch the World Series, right? I've worked with a bunch of, and they all stand up with their placard, like, fight against cancer. What do you fucking think fucking creates cancer? Fighting. It's a brilliant marketing campaign. Right? So if you are, quote unquote, in a state of unrest because of the darkness in the world, find darkness in you. And at least you can be responsible for your corner of that darkness. How can I infuse more love from myself that nudges the collective, however infinitesimal? The butterfly effect. My resistance to life, because, well, it's bullshit what's going on out there. People are so fucking, ignorant, and they're mad, and it's like, okay, and what energy are you contributing to that? So it's a very subtle line between where we become a stand for something, but are you being a stand for something from the very same energy that you're resisting, or can you transmute it by being big enough of a human being who's going to be in the energy of freedom, love, and acceptance? That actually the thing that you don't want starts to dissipate. Two dogs fighting on a bone. If you notice, if one let go, the other one eventually will let go. There's no fight anymore. So whatever your darkness is the opportunity for you to transmute, because when you transmute your darkness, there's less darkness in the world.